Time now for the RV Podcast Interview of the Week. Interesting, entertaining, and helpful information about the RV lifestyle. Here's Mike with this week's interview.
It was about 1 year ago right now that the RV industry was stunned with the sudden insolvency, bankruptcy, receivership, and the shutdown, the firing of all their employees from Roadtrek motorhomes in Ontario. Roadtrek has been for almost 50 years now an iconic brand in the campervan RV industry. And the collapse of that company last year and the hundreds of people who lost their jobs was stunning because it was totally unexpected. Last summer, it was announced in the receivership of the company that its assets and its name had been purchased by a new company in North America, but a familiar company in Europe called Rapido, a French company, that they had bought the assets and would be building Roadtreks again in North America. That was a long process that occupied much of the industry's attention last year. Well, a year has come and gone, and as this podcast interview is being released, Roadtreks are once more showing up in dealer showrooms around North America. The new CEO of the new Roadtrek is Dane Found, and he is our guest today, and a very candid discussion about what happened to the old company and its assets and where the new company is now and its special emphasis on quality. Give us a quick overview of when you came on board and the amount of work that you've had to do, and take us up to date of where Roadtrek is today.
Well, I was first approached last summer to see if I might be interested in this type of operation, and took several months to finally get things worked out, and I started officially on the 15th of October. Much of the team had already been put together prior to that, but basically the focus was to get the plant up and running, but get it running at a much lower pace than we were used to, so that we could develop some process and procedures that were sustainable and scalable as we grow the company. Because I think the previous company had traded away quality for quantity for a little while, and we all know that Roadtrek had a history in the past of being a very high quality unit, but I think that had kind of gone away a little bit. And we committed to the dealers that we would get the quality back to what they expected it to be, and there's no better time to do it than as we're starting production. If you get up to a fairly large number per day, it's really hard then to instill quality procedures that you can grow with. So
I think a lot of people just didn't realize what a job that you really had there. You basically are starting from the ground up.
We did. It's I think even people within the organization didn't really realize that this is a brand new company, and none of the licensing or the approvals from the old Roadtrek company carried forward. When we did a purchase, we did an asset purchase that got us equipment, materials, and the brand name, but essentially that's it. We had to go through getting RVIA certification, which in order to get RVIA, we have to get NHTSA approval. The same thing here in Canada. To get CSA approval, you have to get Transport Canada. Then every one of the states, well, I shouldn't say everyone, but pretty well all of the US states require licensing, and some of the forms are just a rubber stamp. Other ones require FBI background checks, and it's quite a procedure. So we were no different than somebody starting with absolutely nothing. And I think there was a bit of maybe a hope within the organization that they'd be able to piggyback some of the stuff that was there before, but that certainly wasn't the case. So
Tell us where you are located now. There, when last we left, Roadtrek had a number of different facilities. Some of them, one of them had grown huge. What factory are you in? And then, if you could update us on the process of hiring, how many people now roughly work there? I know it's a fluid number as you're growing.
Yeah.
Were you able to get back a lot of the craftsmen and women that were part of the old Roadtrek?
well, that was important for the startup to get some people that had a lot of the knowledge. So yes, we did hire a number of people that have previously been here, but we've also added a number of new people as well. But I would say the core of our people had experience building the Roadtrek product, which is, I think it would have been a very difficult startup not having that, especially with the amount of vertical integration this company has, where we build a lot of the components that actually end up in the units themselves, and being whether it's vacuum formed plastic parts or whether it's some of the CNC stuff that we do or what have you. But there's definitely a benefit to having those people that knew what they were doing.
And there's so many there that have been with the company for so long, and I know that really helped. Now, when last we talked at the Elkhart Open House with the new Roadtrek, and I'm calling it that, that's not its official name, it's Roadtrek, but
right.
When we last talked, there was a commitment to build on the Sprinter chassis, on the Dodge ProMaster chassis, and there was some work about maybe down the line on the Ford Transit chassis. The one chassis that seemed to have gone away was the Chevy chassis. So update us about the models, the Roadtrek models that are out there, and then where production is now.
Yeah, well, we did make a decision to focus on what we felt was the core products for here. The ProMaster is obviously the most popular out there right now, more than likely because of the price point, but it's a good chassis, and it comes in two different lengths, and certainly the demand is with that. Sprinter obviously is another one that has quite a following of people, but at a higher price point, the volume isn't quite as much as it's going to be in the ProMaster. We did make a conscious decision to get out of the Chevy business, and the Ford that you referred to. We do see that as a viable product, but we've actually put some other projects ahead of that because there's an awful lot of development left to do on that. And to really understand what that means, you'd have to see what goes into making a Roadtrek a Roadtrek. We're not typically the company that just goes and buys an off-the-shelf water tank and puts it underneath a seat. We engineer a water tank to use up space that otherwise is just dead space in a van, and some of the shapes of these tanks become very proprietary to us, and but it really maximizes the what would be dead space in most manufacturers' units, and that way it frees up other space underneath sofas or beds for storage.
Tell us what models are out there now that you're making, and have they started to ship? You're actually, I know you sold a couple of at the Toronto RV show not long ago.
We did.
How about coming into the U.S. Part of North America?
We did just start, because of the licensing that I said we were going through it. We did just start shipping within the last 3 weeks or so to some different marketplaces, but we have quite a few shipped now to the U.S. ProMasters are the first ones shipping out, both our Zion and our Zion SRT, which is the shorter version. And both of those models have been shipping. We're just setting up our second assembly line in here. This facility is designed to have three different manufacturing lines. And we made the decision that we're going to just keep the ProMaster going on the one line that we already have started. And now we're opening up the second one, which we'll build the Mercedes on. And it'll be exclusive to Mercedes, which we should start seeing some units out of that line probably about the first week of March, sometime starting to come off.
I would imagine that, in a sense, the shortage of Sprinter chassis that has plagued almost all Class B manufacturers, as frustrating that is for all Class B manufacturers as a whole, in a sense, that has probably helped you guys because no one else really is getting them. You're getting them now, as are the others. So in that sense, you probably really won't be missing a beat in delivering the very popular Sprinter Class Bs.
No, that's correct. It's it really, that part really hasn't hurt us, and most of the inventory that was in the field has been flushed out. So, you know, there's a demand out there now to replenish some of that stock as the units start coming offline. So.
How about dealers? How have you've probably had to go back and reestablish relationships with all of the dealers that you need to get out there and compete?
Yeah, but I can honestly say that the dealers have been really excited about this product coming back in, and we actually have more demand from dealers than we're willing to take on at this time. It's the worst thing that we could do is enter into this and not be able to supply the dealers we commit to. And so we've actually pretty much limited ourselves where we are right now. We've got a couple of little holes we're filling in, but we won't sign anywhere near the number of dealers that we have interest from for the product at this time. Now, as we grow production, we can certainly add to our dealer base. But
now, how long, if as people see these new Roadtreks that are showing up, and we're in the middle of the RV show season, there'll be a lot of them. I think that we'll be seeing them in the next month or two.
Yeah.
How long is the order process? If somebody orders, today, when are you thinking delivery will come?
It really depends on what it is, Mike. You know, essentially, we have commitments for pretty well all of the inventory that we're going to build this year. That doesn't mean that we won't try to, get something for a retail customer, but because we're filling dealer inventories, our dealers have made commitments to the product that pretty much eats up everything we've got scheduled for the year. So,
I find that refreshingly optimistic in the sense that you're not pushing through stuff that would cause you to maybe skimp on other processes. That's good. One question, and one thing that I know that Rapido did after they bought the name Roadtrek and began to build this company really from the ground up, is they did have some warranty assurances that they offered people who had bought just before the old company went under. Could you update that on people? What's the status of that for those who maybe bought and have a relatively newer Roadtrek from the old company?
Well, first of all, the old warranty is gone because of Heimer. When that
Right.
died when the other company did. However, as a new company, and we understand the importance of trying to do something for the customers. The customer's warranty on their chassis and all their major components is still intact from those suppliers, no matter what. The warranty that Rapido offered was we are doing it up to $1,500 warranty on parts that we would normally be responsible for as a manufacturer. It's capped at $1,500, and it's on units that are less than 2 years old, but it specifically does not cover units they were Sprinter units that had a second row seat in them, and there's absolutely no warranty provided by us on those units. And that's because those units had a recall on them for the second row seat that is nothing to do with us. It's being dealt with through the receiver. But those specific units are carved out of the $1,500 warranty coverage. Everything else that is a Roadtrek. Now, it doesn't include units that were a Heimer unit, just the stuff that was branded Roadtrek.
Let's look ahead now a little bit. One of the things that I was very impressed with that you just talked about a few minutes ago was this insistence on quality, and that is so important in the Class B market, particularly as we see technologies like solar and lithium and
Sure.
all these other things coming. How about that technology? And do you still see that as many of the others in the Class B industry, the off the grid, as a huge part of the buying public for these vans?
Absolutely, and I think it's only going to continue to get to become even a larger part of the customer base out there, looking for getting off the grid and not needing to go into a campground or something to have hookup. So we will continue to pursue those paths and try to increase the amount of time a customer can stay off the grid. So that will get constant effort from us. It's that will be an ongoing process that we will continue to try to improve on, because technology changes so quickly, as we all know, that there's always a little better mousetrap out there. So we have to stay on top of it.
One of the other things that a lot of people have gotten pretty excited about is some of the European influence that Rapido, your corporate owner, has, particularly their revival of the once very popular Westphalia brand, which we used to see in North America. Now it's just in Europe, without giving an unfair competitive advantage to your plans that others could capitalize on. But people ask that question. Do you see the Westphalia ever coming back into North America?
We do. I mentioned that this plant is set to house 3 different production facilities, and certainly in our plans down the road is to use the 3rd production facility specifically for that product. So, but we might be a year and a half, 2 years away. There's no definite plans, but it is a plan that we plan to pursue.
Well, as we wrap this up, Dane, help folks understand from your heart the passion that you bring to Roadtrek and the company's commitment to the future. There's a lot of people who probably have late model Roadtreks and are wondering, should I stick with the company now, or should I go on, or others looking to get into the Class B. I'm giving you a nice opportunity to make a great pitch for Roadtrek here.
Yeah. I can answer that a couple of different ways, but I'll just tell you, a few weeks ago, I also have a house down in Riverside, California, and I used to drive past a person that had a Roadtrek in their driveway, and actually I decided one Sunday morning I was going to stop in and say hello to this person, and I did. I knocked on his door and told him who I was, and said, I just like to connect with some of the owners and find out what it is. And he proceeded to tell me it's his second Roadtrek, 2014. He had over 80,000 miles on this van, and the thing looked like mint shape. And he just said, we're just so thankful that you guys are continuing on with the product line. And he had nothing negative to say about the old company. He just was so pleased that Roadtrek is back And even though it's not the same company, it has nothing to do with warranty for him or anything, just having the company here that we can still support his older unit, supply parts for him, and probably supply him a new unit down the road, because I'm sure that that's something that he and his wife would like to do. But that to me kind of sums it up, that the Roadtrek owners out there, they're a unique family. It's I've heard of some of the owners that are on their 7th Roadtrek. So when you have that kind of brand loyalty, we need to capitalize off of that and support that as a manufacturer. One of the things that this company's been able to do is supply parts for 25-year-old Roadtreks out there, which there's not too many manufacturers of any RV that can say that they can do that now. I think we will continue to build on that brand loyalty, and we look forward to the next 40 years of, I won't be here that long, but we look forward to Roadtrek being a significant part of the landscape for many more years to come.
So, just to clarify, you mentioned about parts there. So people, if they need parts, can still contact you, and if they're available, you supply them. You still have some of the older parts.
Yeah.
Well, then, last question. I know this one. The 3 little windows, they will continue as part of the mystique of Roadtrek, I would think, right?
They will continue. We have some other things that we're looking at right now too. So, but yes, they're on every unit going out right now.
All right. Dane Found, the new CEO of the new Roadtrek. Thank you so much for making time for us today. I look forward to visiting your factory, and we'll be covering a lot of the RV shows over the next couple of months, and we'll look forward to showing our viewers some of those new models that you have as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Look forward to having you. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks to Dane Found, the CEO of Roadtrek, and below in the description, we'll have links to their social media and their website, and you can learn more information about it. We hope you enjoy these interviews of the week. Besides the podcast, we present them on YouTube. And if you're watching us for the first time on YouTube, we ask you to give us a thumbs up on this interview. Don't forget to subscribe to our RV Lifestyle channel right here on YouTube. When you do that, please click the little bell icon, and then you'll be notified when new videos are online. I'm Mike Wendland. Happy trails.